gross. Dude, what the hell? That's my mother's urn. What the fuck is wrong with you?
One of the things I wanted to do when I started this internet interview series was not just to provide a platform to get to know everybody's favorite creators and internet personalities better. It was also to help smaller creators to gain more of an audience and to gain more recognition. That's what I plan to do today. As you saw in the opening, I had a little bit of an animation there, and that animation is actually done by a man who is just starting out in the animation business and who is extremely talented by the name of Jeff Stockdall. All right, everybody. I'm here today with Mr. Jeff. I forgot your last name already. Jeff Stockdall.
Yeah, Stockdall, or I go by like Jephmation online, so whichever one works.
Yeah, that was my mistake. I do know him better as Jephmation because that's how I became acquainted with him through Discord and whatnot. But Jeff here is an animator, fairly new to the game. So why don't you go ahead and tell our audience a little bit about yourself here, Jeff?
Yeah, so I've been working in animation for probably about 3 years, maybe in total. I started out doing 2D animation, and then in 2019, I decided to go to school full-time for 3D animation. So I'm about 2/3 of the way through. And so as soon as I get out of there, I've got a video game company that I'm, trying to work for, whatever comes along, I've been working with 2D and I've done like small projects and stuff. So I've worked for a couple podcasts, and then obviously I work with, like Chase and Stacy and David. I'll make stuff for them,
Which, for those that might be coming in here that are new to this, I have done interviews with the aforementioned Chase Suddarth and David Sapp. I'll link those somewhere on here. So tell me a little bit about what got you into animation, like where, I guess, your passion for it started, why you wanted to pursue it.
Yeah. So when I was a kid, we used to stay at my grandma's because my parents like worked 2 jobs. And I used to stay up and watch the Tex Avery show and like all the old, like Chuck Avery, stuff like that. And I really liked cartoons, but I didn't know that was a job until I got older. So I think like most people, I spent more time in class, like drawing and making comics and stuff like that. And, I think that's where my passion for it came, was those early cartoons. It wasn't until I got onto Newgrounds that I realized that it was something just about anybody could do. But, it wasn't until like 2019 was when I was like, all right, I'm going to be serious about it and go to school full time and, try and make a name for myself out of it.
I think with Newgrounds, and what a lot of people today don't necessarily realize, because YouTube and online content's way different than when, I was younger and whatnot. But Newgrounds was a catalyst for a lot of people, myself included, even though I can't draw my way out of a paper bag, to pursue like entertainment, artistic endeavors. So I could definitely see that being a jumping off point for a lot of people.
Well, it's really weird too to explain to people now, because when you say like Newgrounds, like younger kids will see it and be like, oh, so it's just like terrible cartoons. But in the early 2000s, because it started, I think it was in '89, Tom Fulp like launched it. But the fact that they had, you could submit your own cartoons on there, that was pretty groundbreaking back then. So I think sometimes it doesn't get the recognition that it, rightly deserves.
Yes, so, especially in basically the online space it created, because the fact of the thought of an online following for creators and whatnot, I mean, that really was one of the first catalysts for things like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in terms of your animation, what would you say were probably some of your inspirations, or like the art style you want to pursue? Like what kind of style are you looking at?
When it comes to 2D, I mean, I was definitely inspired by the early Newgrounds guys, like, because even whenever I got on there, it was like stuff like the Clock Crew, Tomorrow's Nobodies, and just there was a lot of people on there who had really, I would say like the skill set was there, but a lot of it was like crude. So people were like, look at this crappy drawing, but the content is about how funny it is. So, when it comes to my art style, I'm a traditional painter. Um, so I grew up liking guys like Edward Gorey. I was kind of inspired by like Tim Burton and stuff like that because I did a lot of darker art. You know, it's kind of funny to say, but I was staying home sick one day and I saw the show called Casper's Scare School, and it was a 3D show. And for some reason, I was like, I liked the animation style in it, and I was like, I was like, if I was gonna get into like 3D, it would probably look like that. And so that's kind of what, that's what I decided I was going to do.
So you did mention, obviously you're going to college, learning some new techniques and whatnot. Um,
Yeah.
how difficult has it been to transition from 2D to the 3D space? And what kind of lessons are you taking away from the differences of the two?
Yeah. So before I got into school, I had purchased, I think what was his, Drawl of Jazz. I think he's changed it now, but I bought his animation courses, and, I really focused on the principles of animation. So like your arcs, your timing and stuff like that. That helped out way more than I thought it would with, the 2D, because my animation classes, I was getting A's in because I kind of understood the principles. What I what I wasn't ready for was the software. So my intro to Maya class, I had to take, I think, 3 times because it was such a learning curve. And I don't know if it's just maybe I'm bad with like learning new software or something, but I think I had to take the class like 3 times before I got through it. So
So, like, let's shift a little bit here. Do you have, seeing that you are, a college student, and you also
mhm.
mentioned to me, kind of a family man,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
how is it managing work and school and your personal life, things of that nature?
It's a lot of not sleeping, honestly, because I have 2 boys and they're both toddlers. I work full time. I do renovations on apartments and stuff like that, and so I do general maintenance for an apartment complex, and it's pretty huge. So I work like a normal shift, and then I come home. You've got family, but then at the same time, it's full time school. So there's not a lot of room for extra. So there's sometimes when classes it's like I just have to tell myself it's D for diploma.
So, during your time going to school and even when you started animation, whatever, do you have any particular interesting, funny stories or any type of horror stories from your experiences?
Of being in school so far.
Yeah.
I don't know about horror stories. It was funny because I was in this class where I started in the first discussion post we had, everybody in the class like posted. And I noticed that the second week, everybody but me dropped the class. So I don't know if it was just everybody hated that specific class, but I kind of liked it. So I don't know. I think that's so far, it hasn't been a bad experience. It's just the class I'm in right now. It's like, here, watch these 6 hours of lecture so you can take like 15 minutes of it to do one assignment.
I guess let's switch up, give people a little bit of a peek at your personality. Um,
Yeah.
what would you say is like your favorite style of animation, favorite type of comedy, whatnot, things of that nature?
Oh man. So I really like 2D animation. So Flash definitely was kind of like my biggest influence growing up. And even, so when Adult Swim came about, I was really big into it, I think like most kids at that time. So I always imagined myself, if I could work on like a cartoon, I would want to do something like that, working on towards more of an adult geared show, just because I think that's kind of where my humor lies in. Yeah, what's funny is I actually wrote a movie one time. So before I wanted to become an animator, I was going to go to film school, and I wrote this script, and it was funny at the time. when you're a kid, you're blindsided by you spend all this time on something, so it has to be good. And so I gave it to someone I trusted, and he was an English professor. And he like wrote all over the page of like, you can't say this to normal people. And so he sends it back to me, and I was like heartbroken by it. And so it was the funniest thing. He's like, you can't make this movie. Normal people will not understand this. And I was like, okay, so maybe I'm not meant to be a filmmaker. Because when I was a kid, I grew up a skateboarder. And so I carried around this camera with me, and I would make like skate videos. Because back before MySpace and stuff like that, there was this thing called Ice Lounge where skateboarders could post like short little clips of them skating. So me and my friends would like make short clips and stuff, but I would carry a camera around, and we'd make like these home movies and stuff. So there for a while, I was really thinking about, trying to get into the film industry, because I really looked up to like Kevin Smith at the time.
I can kind of relate on that. It made a lot of short films, if you want to call it that, growing up. Some of it was actually inspired by stuff like Tomorrow's Nobodies and whatnot. And they're all terrible. Yeah. All the tapes are gone now, but
well, because it all just comes from trying to make your friends laugh,
Yeah. So you mentioned video game company being something you were looking into, possibly post college. Where would you see your career like 5-10 years from now in animation? Would it be sticking somewhere in the video game industry, or broadening your horizons outside of that too?
I mean, like video games, doing the animation for it would be cool, but where I'd like to be is in TV and probably television movie production. I'd like to do something with that. There's a lot of aspects that I think most people wouldn't know about the animation industry, especially with like 3D, because there's so many jobs getting in there, because you have people who do like lighting, rigging, model creation, stuff like that. There's even, jobs that you wouldn't even know about unless someone told you they existed. So I think what I would like to do long term is get into character animation, because that's where I've been focusing most of my free time on and stuff like that. So that's 5 years from now, I'd like to kind of see myself in some kind of company working as just a character animator.
So I guess to kind of cap off this interview here, what would you want to say to anybody that might be watching this right now, that might be new to your work, to let them know what to expect from you?
Yeah. So honestly, it's just, I'm moving forward, and I'm going to try to make people laugh. Cause I mean, at the end of the day, I'm just trying to make something funny. Like the last thing I animated was a skit about The Legend of Zelda. And so, I mean, honestly, if it just makes one person connect to it in some way that just kind of gives a little bit of light, I'm happy with that. I don't care if, I don't care if I have a YouTube channel that has 1,000 likes or 1,000,000 likes, as long as it helps somebody out. That's kind of where I see myself going with it.
All right. Well, I thank you very much for your time here, Jeff. Links to his YouTube channel and his works down below. Please go ahead, go check him out. He's a really talented man, from the stuff I've seen so far. But thanks again for your time, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. We should do this again.
As I said, all of Jeff's works, I will link to his YouTube channel down below, and you guys can go check out some of his animations for yourself. He is just starting out, and I would appreciate it if you guys would show him some love, as you guys have here on this channel as well. I do appreciate Jeff's time. Really cool dude, and very talented and multifaceted. Hell, apparently the guy's even an MMA fighter in his downtime. Don't know how the hell he manages all that stuff. But anyway, thanks for watching. Until next time, see ya.